Coming up next is a question and answer session with Hazrat Amirul Mumineen Khalifatul Masih IV, Imam and the head of the worldwide Ahmadi Muslim community. अब हजरत इमाम जमाते अहमदिया मिर्ज़ा ताहिर अहमद साहिब खलीफतुल मसीह राबे अय्यदहुल्लाहु ताला बिनस्सिल अज़ीज़ के साथ होने वाली एक मजलिस सवाल और जवाब की बात झलकियां पेश की जाएंगी।
The idea was that everyone will come and they will introduce themselves.
No, but whom you were invited, which class of people, students, kids, etc.
Okay.
So I see sitting there, small boys as well.
All the professionals and students from belong to health and medical sciences, the health related studies and medical sciences. So there are dentists, doctors, some
all of them
GPs.
belong to that special class, I understand. All right, come and sit and let's begin with the straightforward question and answer session. Are you related with healthcare?
No, I just
Your own health, I understand. All right. Invite them, please.
the first one.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
My name is Aziz Ahmed Hafiz. I am a final year medical student at the University of London.
That's right.
And
Which college?
University College London.
University College, that's
Very
right.
close to school.
That's right. Yeah.
So my first question, has our hospitals developed in Africa and the third world? Does Hazur see the Jamaat as a leading healthcare provider in the third world?
Yes, they realize it, and the governments appreciate it very much. But it's not entirely because of there being some hospitals available, but because of the special blessing of Allah, that the incidence of cure is definitely visibly higher in our hospitals than in the rest of the hospitals and other institutions. That's one reason why they highly appreciate the Ahmadiyya services in the health department. Also, the attitude of the doctors is much more kind and sympathetic and personal than other such hospitals and institutions, whereas many times very highly educated foreigners are employed, Americans, Canadians, etc., etc. But still they see the difference between their attitudes. And then Ahmadi doctors are available day and night, whatever happens. Everybody can knock at their door and then they immediately provide the services. Much more than everything else is the prayer, because the doctors keep informing me that at many times when they were caught in a mess and they thought that the patient was just going out of hand, slipping out of hand, when they thought of praying, and amazingly the patient started recovering. So all these factors together create a very good impression of Ahmadi hospitals everywhere in Africa. Thank you.
So I have one more question,
Yes,
if you
please.
permit. I hope I can explain this. So here in the United Kingdom, within the health service of the United Kingdom, there seems to be a policy of harm minimization, in that, for example, you have people, the drug addicts on the street who are injecting with needles. So they seem to, a way of dealing with them is, let's provide them free needles. At least they are clean needles. So money is being spent on this, and workers within the sex industry, etc., contraception is then provided for them. I mean, I would like Azur's views.
Do you know who does it?
This is within the health service.
Who decides these matters?
The Ministry
The
of
drug
Health.
addiction has risen very high. So perhaps those who do it, they themselves are drug addicts. And as far as my investigation goes, it has spread far and wide among doctors as well. I recently read an article on doctors being drug addicts in America, and the figure was very alarming. A very large number of doctors in that article were mentioned as drug addicts themselves. So this is a moral problem much more than the health problem. And the moral problem is the result of the social values which they promote or suppress. So the whole, everything is wrong about the social system everywhere. The economic system, the social system, pleasure chasing, irresponsibility, lack of answerability, and lack of truth in every department, in every sphere of life. Only among scientists who are dedicated to their work and do not find time to spend elsewhere. Day and night they absorb and drawn into the work. So leaving them aside, unfortunately most of the social service doctors with free health and partially free health, etc., etc., this is a problem which is being noted here as well. So the American article which I mentioned is very disturbing in fact. Thank you.
Hazur, I've got two questions, if I may. The first one is, Hazur, you mentioned time and again about homeopathic medicine being much more advantageous than Western medicine, and Western medicine having so many pitfalls associated with it.
Homeopathic medicine is Western medicine. It was invented here by Hanuman, who was very much a Western person, and it's very popular and getting more and more popular in the West. So conventional medicine and homeopathy, this should be the comparison.
Right.
Yes.
Do you think that in an ideal hospital, if you were to design a hospital, would you have both of those practices of medicine working hand in hand, or would homeopathy completely replace homeopathic medicine? Like insulin, for instance, for diabetics, is a Western practice of medicine.
See, I would like the institutions to be separate and let the patients decide where to go. But as far as the modern homeopathic hospitals are concerned, or clinics, I should very much like to employ the modern devices of tests, etc., and other electronic devices which work as a mechanical means of life-saving. Otherwise, the treatment should be entirely homeopathic. If a patient insists that he should have access to allopathic treatment in a homeopathic hospital, I should advise such hospitals to let him leave the hospital and be shifted to an allopathic hospital. But mixing of the two is not advisable at all. In a way, this will work as a drug to the homeopath as well, because whenever he feels easier and more comfortable to suppress the signs and symptoms of a patient, he may quietly shift to allopathic usage. So this is very wrong, and this is being practiced in Pakistan, unfortunately. not only at the level of homeopathy but also at the level of tib.